And this is a mystery box.
Or the mystery box.
What's in the box?
Mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat.
Okay, you guys, we're back in the Old Man's collection. This is the collection that my sister Martha packed up and shipped from Minnesota to me. We, at this point, have delved a little bit into the road trip collection and experienced some crushing disappointment. So we're going to get back into my dad's comic books and hopefully find some better and more interesting stuff. Okay, so looks like we're starting out with an older and very chewed up copy of Fantastic Four 365. This is one that I got a hold of. You guys can see along the spine here. It's just all banged up. Fortunately, I don't think 365 is worth any money because it looks like I read that one too much. Amazing Spider-Man 314, not in a bag, but in pretty good shape. This is a Todd McFarlane cover. This is right around his era, so kind of cool. Chewed up Daredevil, Midnight Suns, interesting. This was when they were really trying to get their horror characters like Ghost Rider and Darkhold and Night Stalkers and Morbius. They really wanted these characters to be super popular, but they never really quite took off. But that cover art is pretty fantastic. Ooh, really chewed up Daredevil. I don't have good feelings for this box. Let's see. This is another McFarlane cover. X-Force joins Spider-Man. That's kind of cool. Interesting. Catwoman. Maximum Clonage. You guys, this is the Clone Wars. My most hated... Well, not my most hated Spider-Man event, because one more day exists. The Clone Wars. This was basically an attempt. They wanted to get rid of Mary Jane. Spider-Man, the editorial of Spider-Man always hated Mary Jane. They wanted Spider-Man to be this, hit bachelor swinging around New York and dating, and they thought Mary Jane was dumb. So they kept trying to get rid of her. In Maximum Clonage, the whole story was that the Peter Parker that we've been following for, something like 5 or 10 years or something like that was actually a clone. And so Mary Jane married the clone, and they were going to have them disappear, and this new single Peter Parker was going to take over. Obviously, that didn't go over well. Turtle comic, Monkey Man and O'Brien, Jindai. Transformers. Where did all this indie stuff come from? This might have been like a bulk box of comics that I bought at some point. And then it got, the Gen X is definitely hinting at that. I probably bought some, giant box of comics for $10 or $15 or something. It's a cool Punisher. The Marauders. Age of Apocalypse. Oh, cool, look at this cover. Shadow Man. Super shiny. Valiant did a whole run of these. I remember Ninjak had a really cool cover like this too. Generation X, Gambit and the Externals, more Age of Apocalypse, Generation X, Wolverine, oh cool, Wolverine but very chewed up, that's kind of a bummer. Oh, Heroes for Hope, this was a charity comic, it looks like. Super banged up. Lots of folds along the cover. Very, borderline water damage. Just super discolored cover. A bummer. Warlock and the Infinity Watch 2, also banged up. Yeah, this is definitely my collection. I remember this, X-Men Unlimited. This is about the like the family relationship between Mystique and Nightcrawler and Rogue. Rogue was Mystique's adopted daughter, and I think Nightcrawler was her son, where they were like trying to pass Nightcrawler as her son, and they were trying to pass, at the time, Sabretooth as his father, but I think it ended up being a demon, Azazel or something like that. Marvel Knights Punisher. Oh, here's a cool Wolverine cover. Wolverine 8, featuring the Man Thing. That's kind of neat. Excalibur. Wolverine hanging out with Gambit. Oh, neat. Nice old Moon Knight cover. Look at that. I love these. So cool. Okay. Let's move those up over here. Grab another stack. So, some more old, weird indie stuff. I'm really not even going to address a lot of this. It's all razor teeth and belly shirts. Okay. 80-cent or 60-cent Dazzler. Terrax. The Defenders. Cool. Doctor Strange. This is neat. New Mutants. Oh, neat. Silver Surfer #1. This is not, obviously, the Silver Surfer #1. In fact, I don't think this copy is going to even really be worth any money, but the Silver Surfer is a really cool hero that the Rise of the Silver Surfer movie in the early 2000s did not do justice. Alpha Flight. Kazar. Oh, this is a fun one. Spawn and Batman. It's not in great shape, which is unfortunate, but Frank Miller and Todd McFarlane, those are two names we've talked about a ton. Batman and Spawn teaming up. I don't care that it's not in great shape. That'll be a fun one to read. More Alpha Flight, more New Mutants. I mentioned it a bunch. New Mutants 98 is what I really want. But I'm pretty sure my dad stopped collecting long before New Mutants 98 came out. Spectacular Spider-Man, Dazzler. Oh, I love this cover. Look at that. Kitty Pryde and Lockheed in space costumes. I can't tell if that's on my little screen, if that's focusing right, but I love it. Okay, a Marvel Saga. Oh, I remember this. Okay, so we've talked a lot about assistants, or I've mentioned a few times Assistant Editors Month, where they get really weird. In this issue of Marvel Team Up, Aunt May teams up with Franklin Richards to fight Galactus, and in so doing, Aunt May becomes Galactus's herald. So just like the Silver Surfer and Firebrand travel the universe to find planets for Galactus to eat, Aunt May becomes his herald, and spoiler alert, goes and finds like a giant pile of Twinkies or like some sort of snack cake, and then Galactus eats the snack cakes. So that's when they say beware it's Assistant Editors Month, that's what they mean. Just really bizarre, zany stories. Oh, Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Daredevil. Oh. You know, this is another good example of like how Young Fletch destroyed this collection. This is the A-Team #1. I actually think this is worth a little bit of money in good shape, but you know, Young Fletch got a hold of it, and it's got these folds in the corners and the, you know, The cover is a little dinged up. The spine isn't in great shape. Too bad. Looks like a Sergeant Rock revival with Joe Kubert. Oh, wait. Okay, so this is Indestructible Hulk 1, but this was like a 2015 or something like that. And now we've got Guardians of the Galaxy with Bendis. This doesn't make any sense. These are all... Oh! Okay, so what we just found... This is... Okay, so a few years ago, my dad actually came out to Seattle, and we went to the Emerald City Comic Book Convention, which is, in my opinion, the best comic book convention in the country. It's huge, and it's still really all about comic books, and it's big enough that they really attract like some top tier talent. So he came out. These are the comic books that he bought while he was at the convention, and I know that because this is the issue of Daredevil 254 that he bought, and Ann Nocenti was there, so he went and had Ann Nocenti sign it. So this is the first appearance of Typhoid Mary, and he went and he had Ann sign it. And I remember he sat and chatted with her for a little bit. She was super cool. And he just talked with her about Daredevil and her run on Daredevil. And it was kind of one of those things where, Ann is a really tremendous creator. And there just wasn't a lot, there wasn't a huge line for her booth, Everyone wanted to talk to the bigger names, which is sort of a little silly because, what she did here with Daredevil was pretty huge. So we've got a signed issue of Daredevil 254. It's pretty cool. Hawkeye #1. This is Fraction. I've got a signed copy of this just because I loved it so much, and I'm a big fan of Matt Fraction as a writer. These are ones, if you guys are at all interested in comic books and getting into comic books and reading, really compelling storylines, I would find the trade paperbacks for this one, because the creative team here is next level. The run that they put together on Hawkeye is just something else entirely. And it looks like we've got a few more of these. 6, 7, 9, 10. Yeah. See, this is in Hawkeye #11. The story doesn't follow Clint Barton Hawkeye. The story follows the dog that he rescues that he names Pizza Dog. So this is an entire comic book where there's virtually no dialogue whatsoever. Because the dog doesn't understand English, he understands like he understands words that dogs would know. This was a fantastic issue, and part of, like I said, a really fantastic run of comic books. 2 copies of 13 for some reason. Yeah, here's the Hawkeye word search. Just these covers, everything about these is fantastic. I love them. And then they eventually go over and they follow Kate Bishop, and she has an adventure. It's great. It's great. Okay, so that's it. You know what? With these videos, I'm considering changing up how we do these a little bit. I'm not going to go back and talk about, key interesting issues. I think we're just going to do this. I'm going to try to have. I'm going to try to pause a little bit and have longer conversations while I go through them. But I don't think the videos have to be as long as they were. And I'm also not as concerned about, the value. So I'm not going to go back and talk about the value either. I'm just going to talk about the stories that I'm aware of and what I know is going on. So if you don't like that, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know to go back to the way it was before, and I will. Otherwise, we'll keep these videos a little bit shorter. We'll get through more of them, and we'll have more fun doing it. Okay, we'll catch you next time.